One thing I noticed when I first moved here was all the for sale signs were white people. I mean, and not that they were rude. It was this part of the county. It was predominantly white, and as black people started to become professional, they wanted to, of course, be in a area where the schools were decent, and so they moved where they thought that their kids would have the best shot. So when that started to happen, the white people started to put up their for sale signs because they thought that the price value was going to decrease. So they basically moved out. With me being a public health nurse, I had to do a lot of visits. So that's when I really got to see parts of Atlanta that I really hadn't seen before. There was an area called the Perry Homes, which there was projects out there, but there was these housing in the back, and it was a street called Abner Terrace. And even though a lot of the people that were living there were low income, it was in transition, and the property was, it was like people weren't keeping it up. And then folks were initially, they were like, here, we'll just sell you this for whatever. Then the investors started come scooping in and doing what they do. There are some areas on the south side of kind of near West End that are completely gentrifying. You go over there and you see yoga bars and people jogging up the street. And then the same thing happened at the Perry Homes. There's this horrible landfill. The kids would all get sick and forever complaining. When the kids and the families were in the projects, the kids would get sick, and then they would go visit their grandparents out in the country, and they wouldn't have any asthma symptoms. Then they would come back to stay in the projects, and they would have horrible symptoms, get sick, skin rashes. Think about that. Now these investors come in, scoop up the place, and clean the landfill, put new housing in there. All these people are moved out, and some of them were under the impression that they would be able to come back. Well, they weren't able to come back. And then they gentrified, and there's pretty much all white people out there. So those people were kind of living like that and stuff. It's a lot of things when you're a nurse that you see, and how unfortunate it was that those kids that they had to live around that landfill. And then after those investors come in, they clean up that landfill and everything. Those kids had to live in that stuff. Those kids had to live in that stuff. And it was a lot of them that lived like that.